Okay, so welcome Team Bratz. So hey people, how are you? So today I'm having my coffee as usual with someone I admire a lot, a rock star, a legend. You're becoming a legend. My goodness. So my coach, good friend that has introduced us to so many other rock stars out there. I think you are a leader of leaders.
Thank you.
So, welcome to Fix Flip en Español. I know the name is in Espanol, but hey, hang with me, guys. We're going to be translating. So, Tim, thank you so much and welcome to Fix Flip en Español. How are
I,
you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
My goodness, I'm so happy. I know that you are doing wonderful things in the real estate world, and I talk very often to our students about, or coaches, about you, about someone who has over $4,000 and people don't believe that it's real. So I'm like, let me reach out to him and let's tell them your story. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Tim Bratz?
Oh my. Well, thank you again for having me. It's a huge honor to be here. I love what you guys are doing. I love how much value you're creating for everybody out there. So it means a lot to be here. Um, Now I was going through college 2003 to 2007 when the last market was going wild. Everybody's making money in real estate. And I was in college at that time and I really wanted to make a lot of money. And so I got into real estate. I got into the trades first. I had a painting company. We did a little bit of landscaping when I was in college. It was me and some of my buddies from college who would landscape and paint houses in the summertime. And then I interned for a big home building company between. Go
So in
ahead.
a way, you were in construction before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Kind of in construction. So I was in the trades and
yeah.
doing the construction stuff when I was in college. And then I interned for a big home building company between my junior and senior year of college. And I realized I wanted to be involved in real estate in some way. So I'm from Ohio originally, but my brother lived in New York City at the time. So I moved out to New York City after college and I got my real estate license. I thought that's how you got involved in real estate. And so I got my real estate license. For some reason, I put my license with a commercial brokerage that did retail leases and office leases and things like that. And uh, I brokered a couple of retail leases, and there was a 400 square foot space in Greenwich Village, and it was only 400 square feet, so very small.
Mhm.
And the lease was $10,000 a month.
Wow.
And then it was a 12-year lease term. There was 4% annual increases on the lease term. And I started doing the math and I started adding it all up. And I realized that over the course of the next 12 years, this landlord was going to make almost $2 million
Wow.
on this one unit.
Mm-hmm.
And they had another 8 units of retail space. They had about 10 or 15 stories of apartments above it. And I realized like I needed to be owning real estate instead of brokering it. And so I moved down to Charleston, South Carolina in 2008. And I went through the whole analysis phase where yeah, analysis paralysis. You're trying to learn everything before you do anything.
Yes.
And for me, it was like, I got to a point about 6 months in where I was like, I cannot read any more about this stuff. I need to just do a deal, right? It's like learning how to swim. You can't learn how to swim unless you actually get in the water,
So
right?
I'm
You can
sure you were going to Google and to
Mhm.
YouTube and checking on
All of it,
reading books and just you wouldn't do it. Okay.
right? And that helps, right? It helps give you a
Yeah.
little bit of confidence in it. But you're going to learn more from that first deal than you ever will from reading 100 books.
Yes.
And so, excuse me. And so I decided to I was going to make an offer on a property, and then all of a sudden, October of 2008 occurred, and the whole economy collapsed, and
Wow.
everybody was running from real estate. And so I decided, there wasn't much money to be invested. It was very opposite of today. Today, there's a lot of a lot of money out there, but
Money.
not very many deals.
Yeah.
Back then, there were deals everywhere, but no money.
Yeah.
And so I ended up utilizing my credit card I bought the cheapest house on the entire MLS on my credit card.
Hold on. I need to stop you. So listen to this. He bought a house using a credit card, okay? Because many people say, because yeah, you and I know that this business, we do it without using our own money. So hey guys, I need you to listen to what's going on. It's my coach telling you, one of my coaches telling you he has over $4,000, hearing you from the man, you bought a house with a credit card, which means using somebody else's money, the bank's money, right?
Yep. And so, you know, my friends didn't have any money.
Right.
Anybody who was sophisticated and lending money in real estate was not really going to give me money, because I was 23 years old. I had never done a deal before and the market just collapsed, right? My parents weren't going to give me any money. No family members gave me money. So I needed to find it somewhere. And I realized my MasterCard, I could call them up. I increased my credit card limit and I used a balance transfer check to actually buy my first house. And so I bought it on a credit card.
So cool.
And I fixed it all up myself. I did all the work to it myself. And 110 days later, after I bought it, I ended up selling it. I was all into it for around $20,000. This is, again, the bottom of the market.
How much did you buy the house for?
$14,000.
Okay,
It was
14,000. Okay.
It was listed for 25 and I offered 12 because my credit card limit was only 15.
Okay.
And so we went back and forth. I ended up getting it for $14,000. I put another $5,000 or $6,000 into it and I sold it for $33,000.
Whoa.
And so it was the biggest check I had ever made up to that point in my life. And I remember thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done a deal before. It's the worst housing recession ever. And I'm still making money doing this. And I quickly realized I saw people who had made a lot of money in the run up of real estate back then, and who some of them were getting wealthier in the downturn. And then other people who made a lot of money were going bankrupt. Right. And I was like, how does the same economy, how does the same market happen to everybody? But some people sink and some people swim. Right. And I realized it wasn't the market, it wasn't the economy, it was the business. It was the business model, it was the individual and how they bought properties. And that's why I've developed my business the way that I do it, is because I buy for cash flow. I do not buy for speculation. I do not, buy at a retail price and hope tomorrow the property's worth more. I won't do that. That's speculative. So for me, I would rather buy something for cash flow. If it cash flows, you can sell it. If it cash flows, you can refinance it. If it cash flows, you can ride out any sort of economic storm and then, make a decision on something, what you want to do with it 3 years or 5 years or 10 years down the road.
Right? Be patient as long as you buy right. So there's some people saying out there that you can become a millionaire overnight. What would you tell them? Because I do, our community, they know a lot about construction, right? And so these are people that are in a way in the business, but they're doing somebody else's, like they work for someone else. But the point here is that, yes, you keep doing what you're doing, but why not have a house like you had, like this one house that made you, what, $13,000 in 100 and some days?
Yep. And yeah, I would say if you have something that's working for you, keep doing that, right? I was not good at real estate when I first got started. It took me, I've been in real estate since 2005. I started investing in 2009. My net worth did not surpass $1 million until 2015, right? So that gives you, I was pretty bad at real estate for the first
few years,
7 to 10 years. And then I finally got decent at it. And then it compounds though. It's like a penny that doubles every single day. And since 2009, I've pretty much doubled my portfolio every single year up until when COVID hit. And when COVID hit, we stopped buying. We just kind of focused on our existing portfolio and got rid of the headache properties, the management intensive properties, and really just focused on keeping the good stuff. And so we kind of took a step back in order to make some bigger steps forward. But if somebody is already in the trades, you're in a really good spot right now. You have a skill set that is very needed, right? There's a lot of people, ever since COVID hit, management is crazy. Supply chain is crazy for getting material, and the labor force, right? And so if you have people in your community or in your circle of influence where you can control as many of those aspects as possible, you're going to be in good shape. So if you control the labor force, that's a big deal, right? And then if you can control the property management, that's a big deal. Supply chain is a little bit more difficult to control, but if you can control 2 out of those 3, you can be in a really good spot, in a really good position. And you're controlling what you can control, right? There's a lot of other things that we cannot control, but what we can do is control the controllables, right? Control the things that you can control, and your life is going to be way easier. So for me, if we can control the construction force, if we can control the property management, bring both of those in-house, that's what we're doing. That's right. Why we sold some property. We're building out in-house management. We're building out in-house construction. We have both of those in-house right now. And then the supply chain, eventually we'll probably start warehousing some of our own stuff, where we buy more appliances and material and cabinets and all that kind of stuff. Because when you get into rentals, it's very different than fix and flip, because fix and flip, you need very customized cabinetry and very customized flooring and backsplashes. In my rentals, in my apartments, they all have the same cabinets. They all have the same paint. They all have the same countertops. They all have the same fixtures, the same appliances. So it allows us to then have a little bit more scale, where we can buy, hey, these are the kinds of furniture or the kinds of furnishings we're going to use. This is the kind of flooring. This is the kind of paint. And we can just buy that in bulk and use it for any one of our projects that we decide to use it for.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So basically, you're talking about buying bulks of material, right? Appliances, and just keeping it, and you use them as you need them.
Right.
So what do you think? You mentioned something there that you didn't really scale up until 2015. What made that shift? You and I, we both are firm believers of coaching. I mean, I have you, I have other like rock stars in our team. To me, coaching made a huge difference in our lives. But what made the difference in your life? I mean, we're talking about $4,000. How do you go from one house that you invested 15,000, 14,000, and then an extra 5,000, and now only 4,000 plus doors? Like, what was that shift in you? What changed?
Yeah, I think I can give you the short answer or a little bit longer of an answer, but I'll go with something in between.
Yes.
So, like 2009, I was just doing my own deals, and I was actually physically doing all the work. 2010, same thing. I built up a small portfolio of about 9 or 10 rentals. 2011, ended up selling those and pursuing some other businesses, and got out of real estate actually for about 1.5 years. And then 2012 went completely broke because of that. So I needed to get back into real estate. And I moved back to Ohio in 2012 and met some people who had access to private money or had access to money. And I went and did a lot of the work. And I essentially, that's when I bought my first apartment building. That's when I started doing a little bit more fix and flip. But for the next 3 years or 2.5 years or so, I was doing everything, right? I was finding the deals. I was underwriting the deals. I was doing the closings. I was physically swinging hammers. I was handling maintenance calls. I was handling, rent collections, going to eviction court, move outs, move ins, all of it. I did it all. And I saw people with these big businesses, right? And I'm like, how I can't physically do any more work because we're all constrained by 24 hours in a day. Yeah. You have 24 hours a day. I have 20. But guess what? So does Jeff Bezos. So does Elon Musk. How do they accomplish so much more in 24 hours in a day than I was? And I remember thinking that, like, I see these people with these big businesses, I couldn't figure it out. And somebody reached out to me. They invited me out to a mastermind. So it was a group of about 15 people in a room. and they said, hey, come on out. We'll talk about, whatever hurdles that you're facing, whatever struggles you're facing, and we'll help you punch through any of those roadblocks. And so I went out to that event in February of 2015. And in 2014 was the first year I ever made six figures. I made about $130,000 in 2014.
After the mastermind?
No, before the mastermind.
Before the mastermind. Okay.
And then I went to the mastermind in February of 2015.
Okay.
And they told me a couple of, I would attribute my growth to two things.
What is it?
One would be, the takeaway was like, dude, you need to hire an assistant. And I didn't have an assistant. And so I hired an assistant. The assistant took all the non-revenue generating activities off my plate, so that way I could focus on the revenue generating activities. Because I learned how to build a team, and because I joined that mastermind, it was an annual mastermind. It was $30,000 when I joined it.
That was my next question. How much was that mastermind? Because you and I, we keep on investing money in ourselves in masterminds, but we know that whatever we invest in ourselves, it's coming back. Did it hurt paying those $30,000? Was it painful?
So the reason I told you in 2014, the year before, was the first year I ever made six figures, made $130,000. Then I go to this event the first week in February, and they tell me I need to join the mastermind and I need to hire an assistant. That was about a $65,000 to $70,000 total investment. I was like, these guys just took half of my money of what I made last year. How am I ever going to make this much money back? But they had the lifestyle that I wanted. They had the time freedom that I was looking for. They had a bigger business than I had. So I realized they must know something that I don't know. And I ended up hiring that person and joining the mastermind. In the next 10 months, from March until December of 2015, I made $400,000.
Wow.
I tripled my six-figure income because I learned how to build a team, and I joined a mastermind that had the coaching that I was looking for.
Right.
And so those two things have changed everything for me, because it's important to join a mastermind that has regular meetups, because if you're just, you go out to one event, right? And that one event is powerful, and it helps you punch through any sort of barriers, right? But then guess what? You get to the next level, Sabrina, and there's another level of struggles. There's another level of problems. There's another level of bottlenecks. And to go out, if you can go to a mastermind every 3 or 4 months, all of a sudden I had these quantum leaps, these big boosts forward every single time I went. It was like rocket fuel that just got me to the next level. And so it wasn't this like slow, gradual increase of growth. Instead, it was like boom, boom, boom. And I kept on jumping up even more. And that's how I was able to scale so rapidly. I built out a bigger team. I joined more masterminds, and I kept on investing in myself, and I started investing in my team, right? You go to one and you realize how powerful a mastermind is for you. Imagine bringing your team, or imagine bringing one person, 3 people, 5 people out to one of these events, and how much their mind expands. And now you got 3 to 5 people running in the same direction. You can accomplish anything.
Wow, that's powerful. So we believe 100%, like I said before, in the power of coaching. We have coaches. We have people like you in our team, in which we look up to, right? You said something important. There is always a next level. When we started in business, we did one project and we lost $60,000 because we didn't have a coach. Now I see some of our students, they make one project and make $90,000. One student, in less than 5 months, they make 4 projects and make $150,000 because they're investing in masterminds, in coachings. What's the next step for you? Are you still investing in coaching, in masterminds? What's the next goal? What's next for you?
Oh my, that's a good question. So yeah, absolutely. I think the best return on your investment is always in yourself. You can never take this away. If I lost everything that I had, I could build it all back up within 2 years because of the relationships that I have and because of the mindset and that I have. And so I think that's always going to be the best investment in yourself. I'm still a member of many different masterminds. I still plug into events. I host my own masterminds. And what's cool about hosting your own is like all of a sudden you learn just as much as if you're attending a mastermind, right? Because you have great people around you offering and contributing different ideas and thoughts and opportunities from that. So I do that also. Yeah, we're actually in the process of selling probably about 1,500 units right now. And so I'll drop down to around 2,500 doors, I think, over the next few months. And then but I'll have 2,500 of my best doors, right? Like the nicest ones, all newer construction, all really nice, easy to manage, like best locations. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to kind of, it's addition by subtraction, right? Like you move forward by removing.
You gotta take a step back to move forward.
Yeah, you trim some of the fat, you kind of get lean, and then you can grow even faster that way. I will say it was a big eye opener when my daughter went to kindergarten and I realized I didn't have as much time with her as I did before, right? And my wife is actually pregnant with our third child.
No, so happy.
In November. Yeah. So I think the beauty of it is I can take a step back and not have to work as hard, and we could still pick up around 500 to 1,000 doors per year without me really being that involved, right? My team really handles majority of the work.
Team. Exactly.
And so it allows me to then have the time freedom that I'm looking for, and all of us succeed at a higher level, right? I allow them to take on more responsibility. They like it. They have more autonomy because of that. And it builds up their confidence as well. And so, over the course of the past couple of years, I've brought on multiple people from my team that were just salaried employees, and I've given them equity in our deals now. And so there's 3, 4, 5 people who have equity in our deals from my team now. And I'm going to incorporate probably another 3 or 4 folks by the end of this year into equity. Different varying levels of it, right?
Which is
but guess what?
You with that growth, right?
Exactly. So now I have 9 people with equity in all of my deals. That, guess what? 9 people now have an ownership mentality of taking on the responsibilities for that deal, where it's not all looking at Tim, right? It's helping them build their wealth as well. And now they have an ownership mentality, and they're vested into the company in a way that they're not going to go somewhere else because nobody else is going to give them equity in different real estate deals and different real estate transactions. So I think it's a pretty powerful thing when you have an abundance mentality to offer that to your team and offer a way for them to go out and build wealth. It would be very what's the word I'm looking for? It would be very I can't think of it. But anyways, it wouldn't be a good practice for me to preach owning real estate and the importance of real estate, and then not allowing my team to have a percentage of ownership in real estate, right? So instead of them going out and trying to do their own deals, why not just incorporate them in ours? And so that way we can maintain their focus on our projects, and then it allows them to build wealth the same way. And then it gives me more time freedom. And guess what? The more I incorporate other people into my deals, the less responsibility then falls on me, which allows us to go do more deals, which builds me actually more wealth by giving up some, right?
Wow. So, I hope that everybody listening to this is taking notes. And if I wasn't recording, I would be writing like crazy because you're giving us, gosh, I think you're sharing from the heart, which is something that it's not everybody does it. It's that scarcity mentality. I think you already threw it out of the window, because now you're sharing your growth. You're growing, and you're sharing it with other people that are in your team. And I think it's something that Carlos and I need to do more of.
Yeah, I think it's a muscle. It's just like going to the gym and working out and exercising. You don't start out with a huge amount of weight. You start out with the smaller weights and you do it a little bit at a time. It's the same thing as building a team. You hire one person first, you give one person some profit share first, then you vest them into equity over a few years, you know? And I think there's a smart way to do it. I wouldn't just give anybody equity right out of the gate, right to begin with, but I would definitely, you know, paint that picture, right? I think it's a very short-term mindset that a lot of people have today. And if they don't get rich in the next 12 to 24 months, then they jump to the next opportunity or something else. And it allows me to then to hire somebody and say, hey, here's where you're at, but I'm hiring you for this role, but really I'm hiring you for the next 2 roles. I see you being a director or being overseeing and having your own team built out for acquisitions or for operations or for whatever it is. And by the way, you know, your compensation will be commensurate to that. Your compensation will increase as your responsibilities grow. And I'd love to eventually, you know, incorporate you into an equity position into all of our holdings, into all of our properties. You know, would that be exciting for you? Yeah, it would be. So now they automatically have a 5-year vision instead of a 12 to 24 month vision. So it gets more buy-in long-term, and you're creating more loyalty, I think.
Loyalty, the sense of a family, the sense of it's not just about you, but everybody in the team. Let's talk about kids. Let's talk about what you're building also for kids. I know that your wife is mostly involved in it, but why are we teaching this to our kids? Why is that so important? And tell us a little bit of what it is. And if you can share a link, I want to share it to people because I think it is very important what you're doing. So tell us a little bit about the legacy.
Little legacy library.
Little legacy library.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I think, you know, to me, legacy, the word legacy has been a very center to everything that we do. And my holding company is Legacy Wealth Holdings. My mastermind is Legacy Family. We have our kids' books, our Little Legacy Library. I have an island called Legacy Island that we bought, and we're putting campus sites out there and stuff.
Who owns an island, guys? Do you know anybody who owns an island? Well, I do, and now you do too.
Now you do, right? But it's legacy is one of those things, but it's not about, to me, legacy is not passing on money or passing on property or passing on estate or treasure. To me, legacy is about passing out mindset, right? Exactly. And like, to me, I get the chills thinking about it, is like, I want my kids to come to me and say, Dad, I don't need your money. You know, thank you for offering it to me, but you taught me how to do it. I can go do it on my own, right? Like, that to me is very profound. And so I remember I was on a flight coming back from a mastermind event, actually, in 2017. And when I was on that flight, I was reading a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. Really, really good book. And I was just reading the prologue, just the beginning of it. And as I'm reading this, I was 31 years old at the time. And I remember thinking, like, these concepts are so powerful. And I'm just getting this at the age of 31. I've gone through 30 years of my life being programmed a certain way. And I have to reprogram myself in my 20s and my 30s in order to think differently, more entrepreneurial, more achievement mindseted, more taking on ownership and responsibility, you know? And I'm like, what? Like, my daughter was 2 at the time. And I remember thinking, like, what if she didn't have to get reprogrammed in her 20s and 30s? What if we just programmed her the right way from the very beginning? And so I had this great idea, or I didn't have the idea at that time, but I thought, you know what, I need to find some like personal development books for kids. And I got off the flight and I started Google searching personal development books for kids, achievement books, success-oriented books, mindset books, books that help them build their influence. And I couldn't find anything. You know, there were books on how to be nice to other people and how to share and how to live by the golden rule and like things like that. But there wasn't anything about how to be a leader, right? How to set a goal and then achieve that goal, how to manage your money, and just like the basic principles and concepts around that, how to think a little bit bigger, you know, all those different kinds of things. So I you know, I think when God plants a seed in the back of your head, I think really if you ignore that, then you're ignoring God, right? And I was like, I can't
Oh
do
my God, I always tell people about it. It's like that little voice that you hear it. It's just that it is God, and that's how I call it. And it's funny that
Mhm,
you say that. Like I've said it
mhm.
many times
Yeah.
more. It's not just the subconscious mind that it's more, I guess, intelligent. But yeah, that's how I like to call it. That's
Eh,
God. Es Dios hablándote.
100%. And
Yeah.
so I sat on the idea though, because I was going through growth and I was going through building my business, and I sat on it for like about 2 years. And I was on vacation with some very good friends, and we had put the kids down for bed, and all the grown-ups were in the pool and hanging out. And I was talking to my wife was in the pool, and one of our other very good friends was in the pool, and we were talking about this idea. And they raised their hand and said, "Hey, we'll write the book since you don't have the time, Tim, and then you could just kind of come in and almost like consult or offer feedback on some different stuff." And so we formed a partnership. And so um, my wife Kate and our very good friend Aaron wrote the books, and we essentially took the classic personal development books that are out there today, and we made children's versions of those. So Think and Grow Rich, we made one called Think Big and Go to Baseball Camp.
Oh my God.
How to Win Friends and Influence People, we made one called How to Win Class President and Influence Peers. We have The Richest Man in Babylon, The Richest Kid in the Neighborhood. And which one am I missing, Kate? Oh, The Power of Positivity. So The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale, The Power of Positivity. And so it essentially, one is about goal setting. Another one is about really gratitude and appreciation. And no matter how bad you think things are, things, could always be worse. And to be thankful and optimistic, and how to turn a bad situation into a good situation, right? Another one is about how to create influence and, like build friendships and be a leader, and then the other one is the basic foundational principles of building wealth, how to earn money, how to save money, and how to invest money. And they're amazing books. I say that because I didn't write them, right? The girls wrote them, and they did a fantastic job at it. And yeah, they're only in English right now. I need somebody to then
Yes,
put them into Spanish.
let me
Yeah,
know. Hey, I can help.
yeah.
But these
But
are great gifts, birthday gifts. I will say from any age to, I mean, if you're reading to your 2-year-old, why not get them?
yeah,
Start them young. Christmas gifts, birthday gifts. You mentioned Think and Grow Rich. So Sophia, I'm reading the actual book to Sophia. So the goal is, I think it has 300 and some pages.
yeah,
So we're doing 1 page a day. So
that's awesome.
I wanna, it's taking us forever. And sometimes, Mommy, I'm tired. You read it. I don't wanna read it, but I'll be listening. So we're doing that. So you're gonna definitely have to share the link so our community can order those books from you.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
littlelegacylibrary.com.
I have it here. Then I'll just copy and paste it because I'll be sharing this in different social medias. And you also have an academy. And when I saw that, this is why, hey, team, please let's talk about it. I know that you and I, we spend thousands of dollars in masterminds, but
Mhm.
I also know that not everybody has the ability to do that. So we are in a way trying to make education more accessible to people, right? But
Mhm.
I want you to tell us about it because I think it is powerful, because what we're teaching our community is fixing and flipping, fixing and holding. But in a way, now you're doing what you are fixing and flipping buildings,
Mhm.
$100, $1,000, $4,000. So tell us a little bit about that, because
Yeah.
that really got my attention. I'm like, whoa, I know these people that you're bringing in, and I want to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's called Legacy Wealth Academy, lwacademy.com. And it's like you said, I have masterminds, I have a 3-day boot camp, but it starts at $1,000, right? My mastermind's $1,000 a month. And so they're higher ticket type offerings. And you know what was cool is I get these awesome messages from these kids on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook that are, 17, 18, 19 years old, trying to figure out how do they get the information and get into real estate. And I never really had like a lower price point type of an offering. And so I started brainstorming, how can we make this work? How can we create a ton of value across and cast a wider net where it's not just apartment investing. It's where can people learn how to do a lot of different things. And so we created Legacy Wealth Academy. It's $10 a month. All right. Actually $9.95 per month. And what it is I took my legacy, my mastermind, and people from my mastermind, there's people who do apartments, but I don't know, over half the people do something else. They flip houses, they wholesale houses, they have real estate,
mobile homes, Airbnb,
mobile home parks, Airbnb, short-term rentals, self-storage facilities. They have their own brokerages. Some people are attorneys and they do private money raising. There's other people who own their own investment funds that raise capital and deploy money. There's people who are insurance agents talking about insurance, estate planning attorneys, all these different things. Anything regarding real estate, residential and commercial real estate, personal finance and wealth building, and wealth preservation, right? And then like entrepreneurial mindset is another one. So, I mean, it's not just real estate either. There's cryptocurrency and NFTs and other ways, e-commerce. We have experts. We have all these different master classes that have been created and put into this digital library. So all these experts in their field create a 1 to 3 hour course on whatever their expertise is. And it's a master class on how to learn more about e-commerce, how to learn more about mobile home investing, how to learn more about short-term rentals and Airbnb, how to learn more about apartments or flipping or wholesaling or any of these other things. And so if you're not really sure where to get started, there's a lot of different ways to make money. This is a great way to then test the waters and figure out which one really resonates with you and which one you like the most.
Right.
The other thing is, for people like you and me, like I'm going through all these different master classes because you can take one little tweak, one little takeaway on how to find better deals or how to raise money or how to structure deals differently or how to operate deals better. And you could take that and then implement that in your fix and flip business.
Oh, we are
in my apartment business, right? There's no reason that you couldn't get a ton of value. And so, yeah, we're
just $10, less than $10 a month, guys. Gosh, you have to go and get it. Like this, it will be nonsense not to get, like not to take advantage of an opportunity like this.
And that was the idea. How do we make it? Like I was going to price that $200 or $300 a month, and then I was like,
which anyone will pay it because
the value's there. Right?
Exactly, the value, exactly. So I know that
like,
money, the price is what we get, but the value, and that's our life purpose. It's not like what you charge the money.
Yeah.
It doesn't like what you give in return. It has to be way more.
For sure. And so that's I was like, this isn't really, it's not hitting the button that I wanted it to hit at $300 a month. And so I was like, that's not solving the purpose. Let's make it 50. And then I was like, if we're going to make it 50, might as well make it 10, like let's just make it $10 where it's such a no-brainer, where nobody even has to think about it. If they have any level of ambition and they want to accomplish anything in real estate or entrepreneurship or wealth building, this is where they need to be. They need to get this, have access to all these different resources, follow all these people who have been vetted, right? They're all members of my mastermind. So it's not just random people. And they all follow pretty much the same framework of, how are you finding deals? How are you underwriting those deals? How are you raising money and getting the funding for those deals? And then how are you operating them? And then what is the exit strategy? And then there's always a case study. And then I do an interview with everybody as well, asking them questions over coffee for about 30 minutes about high level stuff on
coffee. You heard it, guys. Coffee.
That's it.
You mentioned coffee, because I always tell people, hey, you're sometimes the real estate business, you're in a business of people. You're in a people's business.
Very much so.
Go and I think we've made more money having our cups of coffee than actually, like you said, just going in there with the hammers, right?
Yep.
Um, what would you tell people? See, in our community, and I say about my community because us as Latinos, we have this mindset where if anything, if it sounds good, like it's, if it's too good to be true, like it's not real, like it's not, like we've been learned, like our parents taught us to work hard.
Yeah.
And if someone is telling you, if you do this and follow these steps, then you can probably make a house in 1 year and earn 20,000 extra, 50, 100, 90, whatever the number is. So we have in our minds that money is not easy to get. And I'm not saying that it's easy, but it's just, it's been put into our brains that it's hard, that money doesn't grow on tree. We have all of these sayings in Spanish. It sounds better in Spanish than in English. But we have that mentality of, no, if you want money, you go and you work hard, you go and just going with the hammer. This is all you know how to do. So just go and do it. Like, and the people, so in a way, it's like money, it's bad. Money makes people, like, makes people become bad, or things like that. Like, we have all of these issues with money because that's how we were raised.
Yep.
Where do you think that breaks? Where do you think that relationship with money? Because some of the wealthiest people, I mean, you, other people that we know that are millionaires, they give a lot back.
And I think that's the important thing to understand, is that money doesn't make you bad. Money makes you more of whatever you already are.
Right.
So if you're already a decently generous person, you will become more generous when you have money. I was just at an event last week. You know Mark Evans, right?
Yes. Oh, we couldn't make it.
Yeah, he's a great friend of mine. He was the first mastermind that I went to in 2015, and he's been a great friend of mine for the past 7.5 years. We've done a lot of deals together. We've made a lot of money together. We've also lost some money together, but we're not in it for a singular deal. We're into it for the long-term relationship. And he hosts a birthday party, because his birthday is at the end of June every year, and hosts a big event and then does a birthday party. And at his birthday party, 100% of the proceeds from this event go to charity. All right. Like, he's worth a lot of money.
Yes.
And he gives all the proceeds to charity. And he has people donate artwork, donate coaching programs, donate all this different stuff. And so all these people that are there already donated a bunch of stuff. And then everybody else that's there bids on all these things. He raised over $500,000 last week in about an hour. Yes. In 1 hour of donating paintings and coaching programs and all this other stuff for that people came in and were bidding on it. And so it's like, it makes you more of what you are, right? If you're already like a scarcity mindseted person, you come into money, you're going to be more scarcity mindset. But if you're abundance mindseted, you're going to be more abundantly mindseted. So when you get money, so I think that's the first thing. The second thing is that it's not easy to make money, but it's simple, right? It's a simple process, but it's not easy. It's simple to tell somebody, hey, go and make offers this way, renovate the house this way, and then put it on the MLS and list it with a realtor, and you're going to walk away with $100,000 of profit. That's a simplified conversation. Mm-hmm. It's not easy though, right? It's not easy to negotiate when there's multiple other offers on the table. It's not easy to deal with a contractor who then steals your money or steals your supplies or doesn't show up on time, right? It's not easy to go through, a house being broken into and all of your copper pipes stolen. It's not easy to, you have to go and look at 50 houses in order to buy one. And all of a sudden, like, there were houses when I first got started, I'd walked in and roaches fell from the door jamb on my head. Yeah. There were other houses I walked into that when I walked out, there were fleas all up and down my jeans. I left my jeans in the driveway and drove home without pants on, right? Like, that's not easy, right? It's simple. and it gets simplified. So it seems like it's easy, but the reality is all good things do take work. You know, I do agree that like, if it's too good to be true at a high level, it many times can be.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen like these e-commerce, you know, Amazon stores and this and that. And
The get rich quick.
yeah, that's not the case. I would tell everybody, if you think you're going to get rich in 12 months,
nope.
It's not going to happen. You need to dedicate, like, it's scientifically proven that you do not become an expert unless you dedicate 10,000 hours to something, right? So 10,000 hours, if you work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 2,000, right? So you need to dedicate 5 years to any endeavor that you pursue,
right,
in order to become an expert. And I promise you, real estate is not an experiment. Real estate is not something that might work or might not work. Real estate works. It works. It's built more millionaires and billionaires than any other industry. And if you've made money in another industry, those people then put their money into real estate because it also preserves wealth. You will become wealthy if you put your head down and you dedicate 5 years of your life to being in this business.
Bravo, love it. So you see people here, I think the message, it continues. It continues with who you give us the message, we pass it on. You are at this level, you have over $4,000. We are not there yet. There's always a next level. And this is what being part of our mastermind. And this is why I wanted to share my coach with people out there. You're making it happen. It's not impossible. You started with zero money. You were 23. I mean,
my dad was a police officer. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. I don't come from money. I don't come from even somebody who owned real estate before. I'm a blue collar kid from Cleveland, Ohio. I promise, like, if you guys dedicate the time and the effort to doing this, you will become a millionaire, right? Like, that's not a question.
Yeah. And I think the other thing that got our attention, you know, Carlos, he's not really in social media. He's not really putting himself out there, but he works hard. He's out there managing the contractors and he's doing his thing, right? But he also feels very like attracted to your style, in which we don't see you. We know what you have, but we don't see you out there driving the Ferrari, and we don't see you out there doing this with the cash, and we don't like. Why is that? Why yes? Why not?
You know, I think a lot of people who want to become social media influencers think that they have to go and do that because they see that's what gets people's attention. I've always
a certain group of people, I think the younger crowd who might fall into, that's gonna be me. I want to be doing that. I mean, there's a certain crowd, I think.
It's an immature, right? You don't understand the real value of money.
Yeah.
To me, that might have been what would have attracted me when I was 20 years old. But the reality is, once you have money, you realize the stuff is not the purpose of it. You know, it's really for experiences. You'll see me posting about experiences, like vacations and amazing places that I can take my family. You'll see me posting hanging out with the fam and going to the zoo on a random Tuesday when everybody else is at work. You'll see me like that kind of stuff is what really the purpose of money is the greatest purpose of money is to buy time, right? And to buy time to go and do what you want to do whenever you want to do it with whomever you want to do it with, right? And so that, I think, is the mature type thing. You know, once I got the Mercedes, I was like, this is it. Once I had the private membership to a club, I was like, this is it. Once I had that stuff, it's not, I mean, it's cool to achieve those things. And for other people who have $50,000 watches and $400,000 cars and that kind of stuff, I respect them because it must have taken a lot of work in order to do that. But to me, I drive a Jeep Wrangler, right? My I don't even know what it cost me, 50 grand, 60 grand.
I'll tell you a secret. Carlos crashed my Toyota. That's why I'm driving a new car. Otherwise, I'll be driving my same Toyota.
Yeah. And I drove a 2016 Jeep Patriot up until a year and a half ago, right? It was like a $20,000 vehicle. And so it just, to me, that stuff doesn't get me
Doesn't do
excited.
it.
And I think what it's done is, like, this is just my personality. I like, this shirt's from Old Navy. It costs $10. You know what I mean? Like, to me, I then attract people who are more genuine individuals,
Yeah.
who are more than surface level deep. They actually, I have really good, great connections, people who are in it for more relationship rather than just surface level stuff. And I don't have the largest following, but I have a very, very dedicated and a very genuine and a very authentic following. Like, the people who are in my community are some of the best human beings that are on this planet. And I don't need quantity. I would rather have quality individuals.
Wow. Great message for all of us, for everybody here. What will you, I know you have to go. I know I don't want to take any more of your time. You're a very busy person. But what do you want to tell these people in our community, Latinos? You know, I'm pretty sure that many of our people are working in your buildings. What message do you want to leave them with? Because most of them, I mean, I will share this in my personal page, but most of this is going to be translated to go into my Hispanic community, right? What
Love
message
it.
do you wanna?
Yeah, I would say, I think every obstacle is always an equal opportunity, right? So whatever obstacle you think you're facing right now is an equal opportunity, right? Like, there's people in your community that may not resonate with a white male who's born in the United States, right? But there's there's people that would gravitate towards you far more than they would ever gravitate towards me. And so, Ruby Tinoco, do you know who that is? Yeah. So Ruby's the same way, right? Little firecracker,
Yes.
a female in a male dominated industry, Hispanic. And I think about, like, you and her all the time. And I think about you two being females, English as a second language, right? In a male dominated industry in a country that you weren't born in. Mm-hmm. And I'm like that might be perceived by many people as an obstacle. And the reality is, you've both taken it and made it into an opportunity, because there's people who gravitate towards you and gravitate towards your story and gravitate towards, again, just being authentic and being genuine in a way where you're not trying to be somebody else. And so I would say that for anybody. I would say that for, and especially people who are immigrants to the United States and want to get involved in this industry. Guess what? You actually have a great opportunity. If there was somebody who was a rock star in the construction world and could bring crews to my projects, and we could build apartment buildings, and we could build townhomes, and we could build out all these different things, and they said, hey, Tim, I could bring 20 or 30 people over to your crew, and we'll work 12 hours a day, 5 days a week, and work our tails off. You pay us a fair and reasonable wage, and would you give us a little bit of equity in the deal because of that? Yes, I would do that all day, right? Because there's so many people who aren't willing to work the extra hours, who aren't willing to have the, you know what I mean? Like, so by taking that great obstacle of, hey, I'm just working for other people, why not say, hey, I'll dedicate all of my resources to you if you give me some piece of equity in your project. And if you can earn 5 or 10% equity in a deal and help people like me keep the cost down on the project, I would do that in a heartbeat. I would do that no matter what. So I guess, I'm giving you a couple of examples, but really it's look for the opportunity in the obstacle and not just the obstacle in the opportunity, right? Like, look for where can you provide value. And a great way to provide value right now is having that labor force. And so if you have access to a labor force and you can help people do some of that, I don't think there's any reason that if you do a good job and you perform on time and on budget or under budget, that somebody wouldn't give you a piece of the equity or a piece of the profit share in that deal. And so I think that's a really powerful way to start building up some wealth without you having to own 100% of the deal.
You're verbalizing my actual thoughts.
Really?
In the back of my mind, I have one day Carlos and I, your community, we're gonna do something together. This is where this is going. I know it takes time. Nothing is fast. I mean, whatever that it's worth having, it takes time. But it's funny that you said it, because I wasn't going to, but it's there. That thought, it's there. So now the universe has heard it.
That's it. That's it. Well, and that's the thing. It's like everybody thinks they need to own 100% of a deal. No, what value can you contribute, even if it's a small portion of it? And if you can keep 5-10% of that deal, but it's a multi-million-dollar project, and it's worth, $600,000, that 5%, all of a sudden, hey, you would have made, I don't know, $250,000 in actual profits from the construction job,
Right.
but instead it's you get $600,000 in this deal, and it grows in value every year, and you pay down principal, and you earn some cash flow from it, and then it sets you up to do the next deal and the next deal and the next deal. It's like forego the short-term stuff in order to make long-term investments.
It's just about having the vision, right?
Mhm.
And you're getting, not me, you're getting a lot of hearts in this lives that I'm on right now. So, and they're asking for the links. So I will be sharing the links, because the funny thing is that, yes, we're teaching this in Spanish, but there's so many people in our community who understand English. So hopefully I get to bring some people to your next live event, and we share some time together with our coach.
I love it. I love it. No, you're a rock star. I got a ton of respect for what you and your husband are doing, and your little girl's such a doll. And so I love what you guys are doing. You're making a big impact, and it means the world to a lot of people, and you're making a difference. So thank you for doing all that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. I think our why, it's our kids, but we also want to make it happen for ourselves as well. And the way I see it is, lately, nothing feels better than getting that text message from our students and saying, hey, I closed my first deal. I made 30,000. I made X amount of money, but you're a giver. And I thank you for that. And we are looking forward to getting those links, because a lot of people in our community are going to go and start following you. So thank you for your time. Kisses to your wife, and a rub to that belly. And you take care of yourself. And thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Team Bratz, everybody.